I just said that Iggy has a job. He works for Sports Illustrated. I
Yes.
want to give you a little background.
Okay.
When I was a young man, I'd gotten out of Stanford. I was 26, and I started to be a freelance writer. My dad, who was a lawyer, wanted me to be a lawyer, but I didn't want to be a lawyer. And I said I wanted to be a writer. And my parents, they were so supportive, like I am of Iggy, and they were lovely, but they were scared, how do you make it as a writer? And I had confidence. So I started sending stuff into Sports Illustrated when it was, at that time, it was wonderful magazine. Iggy, the writers who wrote it was like the New Yorker for sports.
Mm-hmm.
And they liked me.
Of course.
And I published a bunch of things in Sports Illustrated. Finally, I got a big feature. And a few weeks after the feature came out, I sent it over to the Chronicle, and they hired me right away as a columnist. I had jumped. I'm sorry, sweetie.
Was it the
Tiff? Yeah, the triple jumper. I'm proud of that article.
It's great. It's a great article.
So my break came. I was able to leverage Sports Illustrated to the Chronicle. So for years, I was telling Iggy, you got to do what I did, because I only knew what I did at Sports Illustrated. So he sent stuff into them, and they liked Iggy. Iggy is a hell of a writer. He doesn't write that much anymore. Iggy is a hell of a writer. And
they paid me $3,000 for one article when I was 27.
$3,000.
And they were going to put it in the magazine, but it got bumped because Serena Williams unexpectedly won Wimbledon, and that's the way it goes. But they still paid me $3,000 for it.
And so instead of being in the magazine, and it was scheduled for the magazine, he got paid magazine rates, but they ran it on the website.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they paid me for another one, a second one.
Yeah. So it looked like Sports Illustrated, but then there were a lot of changes at Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, they got bought and sold like five times in the last 5 years.
So finally, a year ago, the new owners of Sports Illustrated contacted Iggy and gave him his big break. So what I said came out to be true in a way I didn't understand.
Yes.
But Sports Illustrated has been wonderful to both me and you, Iggy.
It made our dreams come true both times, yours and mine. Yes. Thank you so much, Sports Illustrated, for allowing the Cohn family business to exist.
I love Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, me
so
too.
that's the story about how Iggy and I both got started with Sports Illustrated and because of Sports Illustrated.
Absolutely. And I got a bunch of people in the comment section who's saying, what's this Iggy thing? I guess, we haven't said it in a few months. So I'll say it real quick. I have an older brother. He's my half brother. He's 12 years older than me. And as I was acquiring language, Iggy or Igaloo was a sound that I just couldn't stop making because it's a great sound. I mean, you say it a few times. So my brother said that was my nickname. He started calling me Iggy. And my parents thought, what a great way to have them bond, to have Brian name him. So when that became the official family nickname, it was no longer cool. And he's never called me that since then, but everyone else does. That's the story.
Everybody through high school.
Everyone.
Iggy.
Yes.
In fact, when you got married 2 years ago, Savannah, who did the service, called you Iggy.
Yes.
So my wife, Dawn, and I, my wife is Iggy's mom, and Brian is her son from a first marriage. We still call you Iggy.
Yes.
I mean, would it sound strange to you if I called you Grant?
Yes, I think I was in trouble or something.
Grant, go be Grant
Lawrence. No, I'm Grant Lawrence. No.
Hey, Iggy.
Yeah.
Well, and just tell the story. A couple of years ago, you were going down Broadway in Oakland. Can you tell that story? No, I got to start it. What are those things you were on? What is it called?
Okay, so in cities, they have these scooters, like electric scooters that you can rent. And before I got the job at SI, I was looking for ways to save some money, and Uber is a little expensive. So they're like a cheaper way to do Uber, and you can go a couple miles here and there.
And you were going to the Warriors.
Which is like 2 miles from my apartment, and I wasn't wearing a helmet.
So we're going up. My wife and I are going up Broadway. Here comes Iggy the other way, and we see he's not wearing a helmet. And she goes, "Hey, he's not wearing a helmet. Like he's 30 years old, So I do this U-turn. I'm flying down Broadway after Iggy because we want to yell at him. So he doesn't know. Finally, he gets right in front of the Warriors. He gets off this little thing. And you're locking it up, right? And we pull up, Mom goes down, pulls down the window, and she says, You're in trouble.
You're grounded, mister. I was like, oh my God. I'm so sorry. It's not what it looks like.
You said you went back to childhood right then and there,
I
right?
was like, oh, man, you caught me red-handed. Oh,
You're in
okay,
trouble.
I'll go
You
home right now. I
weren't.
promise. I'll go home right now. I'm so sorry.
I was laughing.
That's a good story. Yeah.
All right.
Well, hold on. Sheerism says, Grant, do you think they need to make a change to the strengthened medical staff? Even in 2019, they were injured. You remember Tom Abdenauer? You're friends with Tom Abdenauer.
We're friends.
You know, the Warriors had an issue like with this 10 years ago when I was a kid, and they always blamed Abdenauer, the fans. It's not his fault. He's trying to help.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Tommy Abdenauer is a trainer deluxe. He's brilliant, and he's a great guy. I don't know what went on with him in the Warriors, but I never would blame Tommy, and I would never blame a doctor, and I would never blame a training staff. I'm not there. These people go to school to learn what they do, and they are so sincere. So no, I don't blame them.
I don't like that. They're trying to help. They're not the problem.
Right.
Melvin's back. He says, Lowell, do you miss New York? How old were you when you left? Do you ever think about covering New York sports teams back in the day? I love this question.
When I was a kid, I never thought about, I always thought I was going to be like, an English professor. I left New York at the age of 16 to go to college in Pennsylvania, to Lafayette College. But I spent every summer and vacations at home in Brooklyn. So I didn't officially leave New York until I was almost 21 when I came out to Stanford for graduate school. I never wanted to cover New York teams. I'm a New Yorker in California, and I stand out from that. If I were in New York, I would just be another big mouth New York guy. So no, I never wanted that. I love California. I loved going to Stanford. I love living in the East Bay on this hill I live on. Now, do I miss New York? I go back. I used to go back once a year, but I'm older now, and plus there was COVID. But I certainly go back, try to go back once a year and walk around the old neighborhood. And the last time I went, Iggy and his wife Swasti came with me, and we walked my neighborhood. They saw the playground where I wrote about for Sports Illustrated. They saw Midwood High School where I went. We went into the auditorium. We walked the whole neighborhood. So I miss New York of the 1950s and 60s, not now. I miss where I grew up, and I want to say I had one of the great childhoods of America.
And, when we do go to New York, it's like a 3-night stay. By the time we come back, you're always so happy to be home. And you're one of the most, you have some more pride in the Bay Area of anyone I've ever met. You love it here.
I do. I love it here. One time I remember Bill Walsh told me they were on a long road trip, and they flew into San Francisco, and he said, Lowell, when I got into the city at the airport, I wanted to kiss the ground. That's how I feel. After I spend time, what we do is we go to New York and then to Philly, where my brother, who's gone now, and my sister live. And the last time Iggy and Swasti came, in the summer, it is so cloyingly hot. It's something that you don't experience out here. And you want to, when you get into SFO and you feel the breeze and the air, you want to kiss the ground.
Yes. And, even the 4 years that I've never lived outside of California, but I did live in LA for 4 years. And LA is really nice too. It's 10 degrees warmer, which is nice, but it smells better in the Bay. And every time you get back and you get out of the plane, it's like, ooh, it's fresh. I love that. It smells great in the Bay Area. Also, after the rain, it is so clear. The view of the Bay, the view of the San Francisco from the Oakland Hills is just, there's nothing like that anywhere else. Certainly not in LA. LA, there are places there that would theoretically have nice views if you could see through the smog, but you can't. So what are you going to do?